Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bob Pettke, and prior to working with Automated Business Designs, I spent over 15 years in staffing, where I wore every hat under the umbrella in staffing, from recruiter to sales to branch manager to regional and all the way up. One of the things I recognized as I was on my way up through the organization was the importance of understanding, analyzing, and using your KPIs to drive your business. I now work for an APS software company that I had the good fortune to work with when I was still in staffing. Tremendous opportunity for us to use the software. I left after all those years, and now I'm here, and I'm going to share the secret sauce with you. So let's talk right now about what we currently are looking at. Now, right now, when you're measuring your data and you're looking at your analytics, you're likely trying to measure your fill rates, turnover, looking at pipelines for candidates. You're holding your recruiters accountable, you're tracking your sales funnel, your sales activity, you're holding salespeople accountable, and you're tracking your P&L, gross profit dollars, and gross profit percent, and your gross profit dollars per hour. Are we all doing that right now? Hands up. All right, if you're not, well, then just keep listening. I still got you, right? All right. So you got to make sure you're using your data to track your recruiting and your sales growth. If you don't, you are just making life more difficult on yourself. And you're going to continue to do the same things without growth. And what does it mean when you continue to do the same things and expect different results? That's the definition of insanity. Yes. So do you know the numbers? Do you know how many activities are needed to place somebody on an assignment? What is the likelihood they will stay on an assignment? Do you know these things, or are you just throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks? You need to figure out, what is your turnover rate when it comes to sales? Do you know how many connects a salesperson needs to make to get an appointment? I define a connect as a two-way communication with somebody at the client to start, continue, or end the sales process. How many meetings does it take to get a new account? And most important, are you using automation and technology to measure these things? I'm going to imagine a lot of you people are not. That's okay, but there are ways. We're in the 21st century. Yes, 21st century, there are ways to measure this data so you can make sure that you're doing it through automation. And are you equipped with the right technology as well? I'll leave that up if you want. You got your screenshot? Perfect. So let's talk about a recruiter. Let's talk about the things you should be looking at. A lot of this information is probably in data analytics. If you need it, you got to drive reports, pull this information up. Do you know your number of applicants? How many of the people, out of the people that have applied, how many were screened by you? Out of the ones you screened, how many did you issue a conditional job offer? I screened you and I said, all right, I'm going to present you for a job. Out of those, when you issue them a conditional job offer, how many of them actually did you assign to a job? How many did you assign, but they didn't go or show? Did that ever happen to anybody? Yes. Okay. How many of them did show, and how many of them stayed for at least a week? Right? Are you looking at this data now? Raise your hands. Yes. You got one or two hands. Are you using reports or automation? Okay. How about automation? Would that make things quicker, better, faster for you? Yes, it would. Let's keep going. I've got recruiters here. This is that old-time data metrics. Remember the green and white paper? All right. So we got Roger. We're going to follow Roger. Roger, over the course of a month, had 577 people that applied that he had a chance to go ahead and bring in. Out of the 577, he was able to screen 476. So we know Roger screens 82% of the candidates that he gets. Is that a good number? I get 10 people apply, 8 of them I screen. The other 2 I can't get a hold of. Not bad. These are the same numbers for the other folks. Here's the aggregate for the group. So now I've screened them, right? Roger's number of 476. Out of 476, he decided 395 of them are worth the hire. We're going to hire these people, right? Now we're at 83%. Here's the aggregate of the group. Are you looking at these numbers? Are you figuring out these percentages? If you are, you're probably going to reports, or you might have to have somebody run a report for you. Nevertheless, you need to know these numbers so you can position yourself, forecast yourself for growth on filling jobs. We're going to continue. If you go back here, Roger issued 395 people a conditional job offer. That means I met them and I am willing to go ahead and give them a job. Out of 395, Roger assigned 334 people to a job, 85%. Now, out of the 334, only 253 people showed up. Now we're starting to see the numbers trend in a not so great direction. Here's the group. Numbers showed. Here's our number of people that have showed. Everyone's following along with me. We're going through a funnel for recruiting, right? Out of that, 253, 58 were assigned. They never showed. We knew that already. That means we got a turnover rate here of 23%. Now the 253 showed that we tried to do 195 states, so we've got a 77% retention rate. We're following along. We're going from the very beginning down, 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 right? Okay, imagine you lived in a world where you had a dashboard where you're going to have to pull reports, and all of this data was here for you as it occurred in live data. I don't know who you use for your ATS system, your tracking system. I work for a company where as soon as something happens, it's tracked here. For the month, you can see the flow. And every time somebody does something, I can have an individual dashboard or a group dashboard. Now we're going to go into sales. This is our sales activity over the course of 12 weeks. What we figured out is that Bob, I made 323 connects, 57 meetings, 3 new accounts. When we look at that, we can figure out what my closing ratio is. We know that every time Bob makes 108 QA connects, it's something that we learn to start, continue in the sales process. When I make 108 connects, I get 19 meetings. And every time I get 19 meetings, I get 1 new account. That's a lot of meetings to get 1 new account. So as a manager, I want to coach that. I want to figure out, does Bob really think at meetings? Is he having meetings he shouldn't have? Again, you're looking at this information, you're using this to hold your team accountable, right? When you hold your team accountable, and we've got dashboards that they can see these numbers as they happen live. Does your system do that? Maybe, maybe not. Here's my pipeline. This month, I've made 67 out of 103, right? Because over here, we know I've got what I need here. I've got 10 meetings. I've got no new accounts. As I do activity in the system, it happens. If it's not in the system, I'll say it again, it didn't happen. So, my question for you is, are you looking at these data points? Or are you just going through the motions? Because when you look at the data points the right way, you can forecast what we're going to fill. You know every time, as a group, every time our group gets 103 connections in sales, every time, we're going to get 15 meetings. This is over 48 weeks because I combined them. And every time our group gets 15 meetings, I get 1 new account. So I can watch the trends. And if the numbers are slow, I can say you need to increase the activity. If the numbers are above the curve, great. Are you tracking this data? And more importantly, do you have automation in place with your current system to get that data? If you don't, you're not going to be encouraged to do this. And you're going to just stay right where you are, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Leverage your technology. Make sure you're utilizing the data points that we talked about to automate your numbers. You do it for recruiting. You do it for sales. You want to share your data to hold your team accountable, and you want to be holding people accountable and not micromanaging them. Sometimes people feel like they're micromanaging me. If you have these numbers on a dashboard, they know what's up. The data and technology is black and white. You can't argue with it. It's either there or it's not. It has no opinion. It's not biased. Finally, determine the numbers your team needs for recruiting and sales and automate this process. If you don't have automation and process, you got to get yourself in a place and space where you have it. And if your current system doesn't, there's many people who talk out here. Your first stop's going to be booth 606, Automated Business Designs. You can talk to us. We can show you how we can do this for you. Again, I am Bob Pettke. Make sure you follow me on LinkedIn. Watch for the Staffing Buzz Network. Thank you so much for being here today. Enjoy the rest of the conference, everybody. Thank you.